they would lose so much money if it was a Chad Henne versus Josh Allen instead of Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Henne. That would suck.
All right, and with that, welcome to the Moore Park Reporter Sportcast. Today, I am joined, as always, by our all-star presenters, Maxwell Clark, Kennedy Collier, Mitch Ross, and of course, Danny Stepanovich. We had a lot of stuff on today. We had a lot of football today and yesterday. So let's get right into it with a lightning round. We're going to start off with just the divisional round takeaways. I want to hear what you guys, the number one thing y'all took away from each of the 4 games we had over this past weekend. So we're going to start off with the Packers-Rams game. All right, lightning round, go.
My quick takeaway from the Packers-Rams game was Jared Goff looked competent in the cold. He got the gloves on, got the screws in his thumb. And if the defense actually showed up, if Aaron Donald was healthy, I feel like they would have had a real shot to win this game. I'm not sure what the time of possession is, but he had barely any time with the ball. Jared Goff, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I just going on the other side of the ball, I think the Packers played really good, especially against the number one defense. Yes, they didn't have Aaron Donald really, but they played really good, and they're going to be really hard to beat. It's going to be a tough game for Tom Brady.
Yeah, piggybacking off of Max, the number one D in the league gave up 484 yards of offense. That's just not going to get the job done. Rodgers looked like an MVP with 3 touchdowns. It was a convincing win for Green Bay.
I don't know what you're talking about, Danny, how Jared Goff looked great. He threw the ball 27 times and didn't even get 200 yards.
I'm guessing
that's good now?
23 completions?
No, 21 completions,
21
only 174 yards. That's ridiculous, man. Only 1 touchdown. The Rams were a joke. The best part of the Rams was the defense. It always had been that season. They were one of those teams that kind of barely squeaked into the playoffs. Packers look great, and they're going to, unfortunately, roll over Tampa Bay. It's no longer going to be Tampa Bay.
Oof, big sad. But at least y'all got to see Aaron Rodgers' third eye in action. Moving on, lightning round.
I told you about the third eye. He's centered, guys. He's ready.
Ravens, Bills.
It was unfortunate that Lamar Jackson got injured. I was hoping that he would stay in the game the whole time because that was actually a pretty fun game to watch between the Bills and the Ravens. Josh Allen looks like a future MVP. I guarantee if he doesn't win in the next 2 to 3 years, he'll be in the top 5 in those 2 to 3 years. I think, unfortunately, it depends on how Mahomes looks in this next week. I think the Bills' chances end next week, but if Mahomes is out or if he's not 100%, who knows?
Yeah, my big takeaway, Taron Johnson, the guy who went viral for his combine video of getting smacked in the head by the football, had an NFL playoff record, 101-yard pick 6 to basically put Buffalo on top. That was really the defining moment of the game for me.
Yeah, you guys took both of my my topics, but yeah, it was a really good game. Definitely tough to watch Lamar Jackson just get hurt and not be able to play the whole game and see a complete game. But yeah, Taron Johnson, man, he basically won that game. He iced it basically.
Yeah, it was an ugly game. I wish this game was indoors so we could see both Lamar and Josh Allen air it out. But my biggest takeaway was the Bills just completely abandoning the run. I think they had 2 rushes in the first half, and one was a quarterback scramble off a messed up play. So the Bills really showed that they can win football games in different ways. Like you said, their defense stepped up. They're going to be dangerous against the Chiefs.
Let's move into part 3 of this lightning round. Browns versus Chiefs.
Yeah, so Browns didn't really look that good, especially once Mahomes left. You have the door wide open for the taking, even when you're down, I think it was 19-3 at a certain point. It was for the taking, and Baker Mayfield just came up short. But Andy Reid had some huge balls to play that to ice the game on that 4th and 1.
Yeah, Cleveland had their opportunity. They had their window to take the lead late in the game. My takeaway from this is Cleveland's here to stay as a contender in the AFC. I think that they're legit. They competed to the end against Kansas City, even though Mahomes went out, and they still blew their opportunities. But I think Baker might be the answer for Cleveland.
I think before Cleveland becomes a contender, they have to get more weapons around Baker Mayfield. I was about to say, wow, the Browns really ran all over Kansas City today, but then I looked and no one had over 100 yards on the Browns, so I don't know why the hell I thought that. Yeah, the Browns blew their chance to win this game, to get one game further. Unfortunately, Mahomes just, had that horrible injury. We didn't really get the game we wanted. Hopefully he's okay, but if you're a Browns fan on the Browns team, this was a good year. You have nowhere to go but up.
I think you're just on the wrong side of the ball, Kennedy. I feel like don't forget Odell Beckham. He'll be back next year. But this Browns team just needs one more weapon on the defensive side. Mahomes just carved up this Browns secondary. It's Denzel Ward and a bunch of nobodies. So if this team can get a couple more defensive stars or just players to step up next season, I feel like they can make a Super Bowl run.
Moving on to final round of this lightning round. I like what I'm hearing so far. All right. But we're going to end it with Bucks versus Saints, Tampa Bay versus Nolans.
Well, this was kind of a weird game of father time against both quarterbacks. We saw Tom Brady kick father time in the teeth while father time was taking Drew Brees' lunch money. It's a sad way to see Drew Brees' career end. He was just not the same quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions, only 1 touchdown. He looked old. But Brady, how many young virgins does he kill in his basement per day to keep his skin looking the way he does? I'm putting the over-under at 5.
Moving on. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just embrace the human sacrifice. Tom Brady
Mitchell.
How do you think to the next
look at him?
person?
Do you think he's just eating fruit? Do you think he's just stretching better than the rest of us? No, he is doing something cosmetically or some spiritual demon voodoo stuff. No, this is not natural.
Yeah, so the Tampa Bay, they had a great defensive showing. They scored 3 times on takeaways, which is really what stood out to me. If this is the last game for Drew Brees, the man is leaving the league with the most passing yards and completions all time. It was a matchup that we all wanted to see in the playoffs for a long time. Unfortunately, the Saints came up short.
Sorry, Mitch, but your Super Bowl pick was not able to get the 3rd-time charm. Tampa Bay still alive in it. I'm going up against Kennedy in Max's pick next week. That should be good. But my big takeaway was this Tampa defense that they've been rebuilding the past few drafts finally showed up big. Their run defense has showed up pretty well this entire season, but this secondary finally made some plays. Antone Winfield, who they drafted in the 2nd round this past draft, he forced the Cook fumble. Sean Murphy bunting. He caught an interception. Carlton Davis shut out Michael Thomas. 0 for 0. Where was MT? I can't find him anywhere. And like I said, the key for the Bucs to win this game was running the ball. Fournette, 17 carries. Ronald Jones, an injured Ronald Jones, 13 carries. Now Cam Akers, he ran 18 for 90 against this Green Bay defense. I feel like that's the weakness in this Green Bay defense. So it'll be fun to see what this team can do against Green Bay. Another thing I had to say was, this Green Bay defense giving up 112 rushing yards per game. It should be fun.
Yeah, and just I think really at the end of the day, Drew Brees lost this game for the Saints. I mean, just 2 stupid throws. The last one, you're down 10, but still have a chance. And he threw it into triple coverage almost. It was just so many bodies, Tampa Bay players just going right at that dude. And it's what are you doing? Michael Thomas, 4 targets, 0 catches. Did not look like the great Michael Thomas that we've seen just doing quick slants usually. But the Bucs played well. It was a game. Whoever made the fewer mistakes won. And it showed.
To add to that, when you think of Drew Brees and the stats prove it when you look back, he is one of the most accurate quarterbacks to ever play the game. He will go into the Hall of Fame because of that accuracy. And last night, or I guess it would be tonight, it was just a shell of himself.
Well done on that lightning round. Now, our next topic, we're going from this past weekend going into next weekend. We're going to be talking about the Bills facing off against the Chiefs in the semifinal matchup here. And both of those games that those teams played in yesterday and today had one common theme, and that was quarterbacks and concussions. The Bills won against the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson went out due to a concussion. And the Chiefs managed to pull off their game against the Browns, even though Patrick Mahomes was taken out for a concussion. But while the Ravens aren't moving on, the Chiefs are. So how do you think this Bills-Chiefs game is going to go?
Yeah, this really depends if Mahomes is 100%, like Kennedy said earlier. This Bills defense, they really showed out against Lamar Jackson. I thought they did a great job containing him against the run. But this Chiefs offense, after questions of if they would come out rusty off a 3-week break, and even closing off the season, they weren't too hot. Mahomes was just throwing it all over that Browns defense. So if Mahomes, if he's good to go, I got to take the Chiefs here in a close one. Josh Allen can keep it close, but this Bills defense, they're vulnerable. So I like the Chiefs here.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game to watch. It was a matchup that we didn't see during the regular season that I think a lot of people wanted to see. I don't know if Mahomes is going to be 100% ready to go. Who knows if he'll clear concussion protocol in time, but also watching the game today, I heard that he was also dealing with some foot injury. Maybe it was turf toe. So we'll see. Those two things, the toe injury might prevent Mahomes from scrambling as much. If Mahomes isn't 100%, I like the Bills, honestly, for the upset, 27-24. But if he is good, I'll take the Chiefs 31-27.
I think the only way the Bills come out with a W is if Mahomes isn't playing. Because I don't think if you get 60, 70, 80, 90% Mahomes, he's better than Josh Allen is right now. He has so many weapons. The defense is doing great. The run game is unstoppable. So if Mahomes is in, it's over. But if Mahomes is out, the Bills are going to run away with it because I don't think you can rely on Chad Henne.
Yeah, so, yeah, just like you guys were saying, if Pat Mahomes is out, it's hard to not take the Bills because Chad Henne will not be able to do it for them. But the Bills offense might just be electric enough to get them to win. This is a really hard game to predict, and I really, really badly want to take the Bills, but I think I'm going to have to take the Chiefs. And nah, screw this. I'm taking the Bills. I'll take the Bills. Let's do it.
There we
I
go.
like it, Max.
Now we're going to go through a quick bonus lightning round here. Just 2 words max. Mahomes came off the field wobbling from that concussion. Do you think he'll make it back Sunday?
Yep.
We'll see.
Weak.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
All right, groovy. I dig it. All right, so let's move on to the semi-ultimate part of our chat and the last bit of our NFL chat for the night. We've got Packers Bucks, Tampa Bay versus the Enlightened One. All right, so how's this going to go?
As I said last week, Rodgers' third eye is on the prize. He is as centered as he's ever been. He's his best. He's at his peak, guys. This is peak Aaron Rodgers we're seeing. He throws nothing but touchdowns. He doesn't throw picks. I don't know. It's just, I think as an overall team, the Packers are more complete and have better depth than Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think we're going to see very little defense in this game. It's going to be fun. If Tom Brady pulls this off, I hate football.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm taking the Packers. I think just the way they looked against that Rams defense just puts them ahead already. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Especially, it's going to be in Lambeau. It's a rematch from earlier, so it's going to be a revenge tour for the Packers. And, since it's in Lambeau and you're playing against a team from Tampa where they're usually in the heat, I think it's going to be it might be a blowout just because. We'll see.
Yeah. Look, this is the battle of the Bays, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, 2 elderly quarterbacks. I mean, what more could America want? Max, you forget that Brady and Gronk played in New England. They like the cold. Antonio Brown played in Pittsburgh. He prefers Miami in general for his lifestyle. I like I like the Packers, and it's always tough to pick against Tom Brady, especially when he just systematically picks apart teams. I like the showing the Packers had against the Rams defense. They really made a statement. I think this is a shootout, and I think it's a 1-point game, one measly point. I'm taking Packers 35-34.
Yeah, I mean, taking Tampa Bay here, it's tough because Tom Brady, he didn't look that great against the Saints defense. Obviously, they're the number 3 defense in the league, but Aaron Rodgers, he tore up this Rams defense, but it was all on the ground mostly. Aaron Jones, 14 for 99, Jamal Williams, 12 for 65, and that Allen Lazard touchdown at the end to really seal the deal. That was play action. That was because of the run game, and it's going to be tough to run against this Tampa Bay defense. Like I said earlier, I got a little too excited during the lightning rounds. I brought up a Green Bay, but Tampa Bay only giving up 80 rush yards per game this season, number 1 in the league. It's gonna be tough to run. I feel like this could be a low scoring game just because cold weather, Tampa defense, and then Tom Brady. He's not looking as young as Kennedy's making him out to be, but he's got the weapons. I got to go Tampa Bay here. I'll go 30-27.
I mean, he's 43 and he's going to the NFC Championship. It's just unheard of.
Well, Brett Favre did it when he was really old also.
Also, as the Subway commercials have been telling us, these are unprecedented times. So,
yeah. And also, I think one of the key factors, and I think both of these games, especially to beat the Chiefs, you're going to need to win time of possession. That's got to be your number one goal. And for the Bucs, I think they need to win time of possession, because if you're able to keep a defense on the field and for a long time, it's going to wear them out and you're going to be able to win, especially in a gritty game, which both of these games will be.
I mean, I think Buffalo already won in a sense that they're not going to be losing their offensive coordinator to a head coaching job because they thought he was going to go to the Chargers, but they got Brandon Staley instead from the Rams. Buffalo, I think they already won this season. They don't have to do anything. All the pressure is on Kansas City. Like, they already made a statement this year saying that they're going to be a top contender. So if they just keep their calm, put all the pressure on Kansas City to repeat, I think they'll be in a good position.
Yeah, this Kansas City defense, they gave up like 5 plays I saw over 20 yards. And what's this Buffalo like? They like that big play. Stephon Diggs down the field, John Brown down the field. And one more thing I'll throw in about Brian Daboll, the OC of the Bills. A Daboll to Houston, does he save Deshaun Watson from leaving Houston? That might make a Max.
Deshaun is done with Houston. No, he is out.
Just had to throw Max some hope, guys. Come on.
He deserves no hope. His baseball team cheated.
So did Brady, and yet Danny's over there in a Bucs jersey. So you know what? I'm taking Max's side here. And with that, we're done with the NFL. I'm done with it because I've had enough of it. So we're moving on because I, as Kennedy appointed me, host this show. So we're moving on to the NBA and James Harden. In a blow to Max's already fragile sporting ensemble, he was taken away from Houston and given to Brooklyn. So tell me about that. Tell me how that's going, what we can look forward to going forward. Max, because you've suffered the most, I'll let you take this first.
All right. Yeah. So it's gonna be a second. First of all, this is a tough year for Houston, but we'll keep going. So I'm going to break down this trade. Basically, it's a 4-team deal. The Nets, the Rockets, the Pacers, and the Cavaliers. So to the Nets, they got James Harden, a 2024 second-round pick from the Cavs. To the Rockets is Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, and Rodions Karooks. It's really weird to say. And then they got 8 first-round draft picks, basically. And then the Pacers get Karis LeVert, cash considerations, and a 2023 second-round pick. And to the Cavs is Jared Allen from the Nets and Taurean Prince from the Nets. So basically, just talking about this, I think every team won this trade, especially Harden didn't want to be in Houston anymore, so he wanted to get out. So the Rockets getting 8 first-round picks and Victor Oladipo out of all this is really crazy. The Nets get their 3rd star, as long as Kyrie stays, obviously. And then the Pacers, they get rid of an expiring contract and get a great shooting guard in LeVert, even though during his physical they did find a mass on his kidney. So hopefully he can come back healthy. And then the Cavs, they got Allen, who's a great big man to help that Sexland duo go crazy. And then Taurean Prince, who is a really solid small forward off the bench. So, yeah.
One of the most interesting things about this trade is obviously the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and maybe Kyrie Irving. I saw a stat somewhere where I was looking at usage rate, and they have 3 players, the Nets, with a usage rate of 30%. No other team, every other team has one if they have a person with a usage rate. They have 3 players on the same team who are going to be asking for the ball, demanding for the ball, shooting the ball. Honestly, if you're the Nets, you probably might want to find a way to trade away Kyrie Irving at this point, because when you look at James Harden and Kevin Durant got 42 points and James Harden got 32. So do you really need Kyrie Irving? I would trade him for some depth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would trade away Kyrie. I think it'll be interesting to see how all 3 of them work together. They're all really great players, but they all like to dominate the ball a lot. If anything, this team is going to be in trouble of dribbling the air out of the ball more than the chemistry issues will be a problem. I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of maybe this is the start of Warriors East. You have a young head coach in Steve Nash, who's a former player, great point guard, great shooter, who can maybe help organize and create some of the chemistry like they were able to do in Golden State. I think it's just awesome to see James Harden like genuinely happy for the first time this season. He looked happy and he put up a triple-double in his first game. So for people who were saying like he's not a great teammate, he's just a scorer, like he really did everything in his first game. And I think it's going to be nice to see what happens for Brooklyn. The thing is, like, is it going to be worth it in the end to give up everything for James Harden? If they don't win the title this year, is it a bust? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into in this trade. I feel like there's only one winner of this trade, and that's James Harden. He got what he wanted. He forced his way out of Houston. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't how Anthony Davis did it, but he got what he wanted. He said, I want out. I'm going to tear this locker room apart. He said, this isn't a winning locker room. And what they have to do the next day, trade him for a bag of chips. At first, when I first saw this trade, I said, oh, it's not bad. I like Oladipo. I like 4 first-round picks. And then Max texts me and says, hey, Oladipo, he's on an expiring contract. They only get him for 1 more year. And I said, oh, man, that's not too good. And then they get the Brooklyn Nets picks. I mean, they're gonna be high first-round picks. James Harden, he finessed his way out of here, and he's coming off an injury. Thank you, Kennedy. And then going to Kyrie Irving, I mean, should we call him Kanye Irving? I mean, this guy, you don't know what you're going to get out of this guy, Kanye Irving.
I don't think it's quite fair
Kennedy,
to call him.
I like what you said. I
don't think it's quite fair to call him Kanye Irving. I mean, he is doing social justice work, like, again, donating a lot of his salary. It's just the issue is he's being paid to be a basketball player, not an activist. That's the issue.
I don't know. I just don't think he's all there like Kanye is, because, I mean, this guy, he's saying, hey, Kevin, in a past life, I was you. And then what does Kevin do? He says, hey, man, I need James Harden on this team. I can't do it with Kyrie. I feel like if they trade him for some depth, like you said, Kenny, I really like that move, actually. That was a great point to prove. But I'm interested to see what Max has to say about this, what he thought about what Houston got in this trade.
Yeah, so basically, I don't mind it. I really much rather have the Sixers pick because we would have gotten or Sixers trade, just because we would have gotten Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle. Well, Matisse Thybulle is a baller. He's on a rookie contract and he's playing really good. He's got good defense and he's a great wing. And Ben Simmons, he's just Ben Simmons. He's an all-pro. But yeah, I don't mind it. I always think it's a risk when you take picks over players. But I think if the Rockets play the cards right and trade Oladipo before the trade deadline to the Heat or something, just get stuff out of him before, then that'd be the smartest idea. Or do a sign and trade at the end. But I think the one thing that I find the funniest coming from a Rockets fan is that the narrative around James Harden has switched so much in the past 3 months. It's unbelievable. The amount of hate he used to get, and now it's like, oh, James Harden. Every NBA fan's going, bow down to James Harden. It's like, man, you guys hated him 2 months ago. Yeah, it's like a lot of fake love going around right now. And everybody's saying now he's not a ball hog. Man, he averaged crazy numbers in his as a Rockets player as an assist, like getting the assist. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
All right. So, final question. I want you guys to make this quick because we're almost out of time here. Arguably, the Nets are the best team in the East. All right. With Harden, can they challenge the Lakers for this championship?
100%. And I have them actually beating the Lakers in the finals.
Wow, bold predictions. You forget that they would have to go up against maybe the GOAT, LeBron James, in that finals. Yeah, look, Brooklyn can challenge the Lakers if Brooklyn doesn't challenge themselves. There's a lot of egos on that team, and they got to all buy in together to find some chemistry and make it through. And I think the only way they do it is with Kyrie. So hinging on Kyrie, yes.
Yeah, I feel like this all depends on Kevin Durant. It's all going to be on Kevin Durant. I don't trust James Harden in the finals. I don't trust Kyrie in the finals. But I do think they can give the Lakers a run for their money just because they have Kevin Durant on that team. They're going to have to get past Giannis first, the Heat, Celtics. It won't be an easy run, but I could see him challenging the Lakers.
You could see similarities to the Heat Big Three where they get to the finals and it doesn't work out the first year. I think if the Nets win 2 out of the next 4 finals, it's a success.
All right. Now, that is all the time we have for today. So tell us your name and where our listeners can find you on social media.
At D. Stepanovich, Twitter, Instagram.
2 H's at the end. Put that respect on it.
Max Clark _@ Max Clark on Twitter. You can find me being depressed because the Houston organizations suck.
You can find me at Kennedy C. Collier on Twitter. And yeah, you can't find me anywhere but there.
Yeah, at Mitch Ross Report on Insta, Twitter, all of that, pretending the Celtics didn't lose to the Knicks by 30 today.
You know it. Bye.
Eesh.